related to drugs. So I'll start with the presentation here. So this is the jurisdictional map of our commissionerate. This is the commissionerate of customs. It's headed by the commissioner, and the headquarters is here in Shillong. So we have a jurisdiction throughout the entire northeast, and we handle the borders of Bhutan, China, Myanmar, and Bangladesh. A total of 5,132 kilometers is the border. Majority is with Myanmar, followed by Bangladesh, and then of course China and Bhutan. And we do this along with the paramilitary forces. So we do have the BSF for Bangladesh, SSB for Bhutan, ITBP for China. So we are organizationally, we have 8 divisions. So nearly every state has one. In Assam we have in Guwahati and Karimganj, and Arunachal is handled by Guwahati. This is where our officers are posted, and this is where we do seizures and anti-smuggling operations. So in every division we have a divisional preventive force in the past financial year. If you see in this, actually now the focus is on drugs. If you see 29% of the seizures are now from drugs. Earlier gold used to be a major concern, and cigarettes. Now cigarette has gone to second place and gold is even lower. So areca nuts is another issue, of course. But now drugs has come up as a huge menace in the northeast. Now drilling down into that narcotic seizure, you see, we're just comparing 2 financial years and this calendar year from Jan to June. Ganja seizures are about 3 to 4 metric tons per year that we are doing. Heroin also is more or less around 5 kgs, last year 2 kgs. This time, in just half a year, we have done 4.6 kgs. But the major concern is now synthetic drugs, amphetamines. So these yaba tablets, as they call them, this is the major concern. And if we see now, in just half a year, we have already crossed, we have nearly doubled last year's seizures. So this is a major concern, not just here in our region, but also across the world, Southeast Asia, South Asia. That is the major problem that is coming to us agencies. Apart from that, we have brown sugar and codeine-based cough syrups. These codeine-based cough syrups, there's a lot of demand in Bangladesh, but because of the issues in Bangladesh now, so there's maybe a little cut down on the demand and there's more action on the borders. So that is being controlled. So this was what I brought out, the rise of synthetic drugs. And we also have our Apex Intelligence Agency, which is DRI. DRI has done tremendous work in seizure of these kind of drugs. I think in half a year they have already crossed more than 200 kgs and have arrested more than 26 people, I think. So apart from us, also there are many other agencies which are seizing these kind of tablets. And these are mainly sourced from Myanmar. Because of the political instability, there's a lot of pumping of drugs across the regions, not just to India. There are a lot of huge seizures actually in Cambodia, in Thailand, in tons, they seize in tons also. Because they are having access to precursor chemicals which are used to make these tablets. And these are made in some kind of illicit factories. So it's very easy to make, cheap to make, and they can, to fund their activities, underground activities, they're resorting to trafficking of drugs. We just have a little map here to show the flow of drugs in the northeast, into and from. So if you see the red there is amphetamine, red amphetamine. So those are coming mainly from Myanmar to Imphal and Aizawl. And then of course, a lot of it is also going to Bangladesh. But we being in the transit route, so a lot of it comes through India and then goes the process to Bangladesh. So we have a lot of seizures also, apart from Imphal, Aizawl. We also have a lot of seizures at Agartala because of that reason. Apart from that, ganja, of course, is there in most of the northeast states, from Tripura, from Manipur, Nagaland, Meghalaya, even Bhutan is coming in. So that is being sent to mainland India. Cough syrups are coming from mainland and generally they go to Bangladesh. Heroin again is coming mainly from Myanmar and then it's going across to all the region, the entire northeast region, and to other parts of mainland India. Other concern, as I said earlier, was these precursor chemicals. These chemicals are actually used for your normal medicines or in the factories, for chemicals and all that. But they are actually precursors. They are used for making. If they are diverted from the actual illicit use, they can be used to make heroin and these amphetamine tablets. So these major concern is that this is being actually, because India has a very huge pharmaceutical and chemical industry. So a lot of these kind of precursors are smuggled across the border, and they're being used in the factories there in the Myanmar, and then they come back as drugs. So now we refer to Myanmar being one of the death triangle. It was used to be referred to as the golden triangle because of the amount of damage it has done to the world, to the communities. So now it's referred to as death triangle. So Myanmar, Thailand, Laos, that region is actually the place where the top producers of heroin is there, and this is where all the factories of methamphetamine, the source of all the methamphetamine tablets is coming from. And because of the dense highland jungles, the lack of rule of law, the instability there, so a lot of rebellious ethnic minorities who are involved with the government are having control of that region, and they are smuggling drugs across their borders to support the insurgency. So our states of Mizoram and Manipur are actually having a lot of problems because of their close proximity. And these drugs generally enter from More, Beiyang. We had a huge seizure this month at Beiyang, led by DRI, and we were just assisting them, but it was a huge seizure of heroin and opium. And from Mizoram, the main entry points are Champhai and Nachi. But these, of course, if you go to those areas, you find entry points across the border. You can't just name a place and say this is where it comes from. Because it's so porous and it's unfenced, that is a major issue. Now, government of India is planning to fence it up, and that's a big step. It's a good step towards controlling this menace. Major factors that have helped in this trafficking are the close ethnic ties of the people there, right? The people living in the border areas, with the people living in Myanmar, and also availability of good infrastructure. So roads and all are not all that bad. And in the winter months, especially when the Tiao River, which is forms the border, that is very easy to navigate. You can even use trucks or even cars to navigate that river in the winter months. So because of that, there's a lot of smuggling happening across that border. So now we have just brought out the issues, what we are facing, and now I'll highlight some of the recent cases that we have made in customs. So this was a case of last week. It was a huge seizure actually, 15 kgs methamphetamine tablets. In this case, we had sought the help of the Assam Rifles. As I said earlier, that we depend a lot on our partner border guarding agencies. We do use their help, and also the local police at times. So this was a mix of both heroin and methamphetamine tablets. It was found in the vehicle and it was concealed under the seat. So unless we have any proper specific information, it's very difficult to detect. So we rely heavily on our informer networks. And we also have a reward policy for informers, and we always encourage them to come forward. Of course, confidentiality is not at all compromised, so we ensure utmost confidentiality of the informers when they come to us to ensure their safety. This one was at Gartala, Teliamura, again on the same day, if you see, this month. 4 kgs of methamphetamine was carried on in a backpack. So this also was based on an informer, and this also we had sought the help of the BSF there to do this operation. Similarly here, this was in a trolley bag, same day at Tripura. This is a place called Singarbil. So 4 kgs methamphetamine tablets were seized. This again was with the help. This actually our officers had to cross dense jungle and all and chase a scooter, and finally we were able to get this seizure. So officers also have to undergo a lot of daredevilry to actually get the seizure. I just want to showcase a case of in Aizawl, this is at Champhai, and 219 short cases of heroin. Again, we had sought the help of the Assam Rifles in this case. And you see the heroin and all, they come in soaked cases. And methamphetamine, they come in these blue kind of plastic packets. This was a case where our officers from Shillong went all the way up to Silchar, and this again was cleverly concealed behind the dashboard. And 3 people were arrested in this case, so 6 kgs methamphetamine, and they were produced before Silchar court. Again, this helped, we got the help of the Assam rifles. This was at Silchar, the location of this seizure. Dimapur, so I'm seeing you across the different states what kind of seizures we make. So Dimapur, again heroin seizure, that was earlier this year. We came in again soap cases, and each soap case has about 11 to 12 grams of heroin. Again, Telemura. See, Agartala is facing a big problem because of being part of the transit hub, right, from Myanmar to Bangladesh. So a lot of seizures are happening there. So this is another big seizure of Yaba tablets. Again, a big seizure. This one, 12 crores. This one we had active cooperation with DRI, which is our Apex Intelligence Agency of Customs, and along with the Assam rifles there. So 12 kgs methamphetamine on 26th of January.